Today's episode is about one of the most common complaints in modern dating. Dating no longer feels romantic. It feels like an interview, a screening process, a job application, a performance review, a compatibility audit. Two people sit across from each other, but instead of wonder, curiosity, playfulness, and presence, both are silently asking, "Are you emotionally available? What do you do? What are your long-term goals? Are you financially stable? What are your red flags? What is your attachment style? Are you healed? Are you serious? Are you wasting my time? Do you want children? Where do you see this going? Do you match my lifestyle? Do you fit the role?" And suddenly, the date feels less like meeting a human being and more like recruiting for the position of future partner. Today's episode is called Why Modern Dating Feels Like a Job Interview. Let us begin with today's situation. A woman writes, "I am tired of dating. Every date feels like an interview. We ask the same questions, compare life goals, discuss past relationships, and try to figure out quickly if this person is worth more time. I feel like I am presenting myself, my career, my values, my fitness, my emotional maturity, my family background, my relationship goals, my lifestyle. And at the same time, I am evaluating the other person. Do they earn enough? Are they stable? Are they attractive? Are they emotionally intelligent? Are they serious? Are they safe? Are they interesting?" By the end of the date, I feel exhausted. I do not feel romance. I feel like I attended a meeting. Why does modern dating feel like work? This question is everywhere now, and it is not only women saying this. Men say it too. They say, "I feel like I am being assessed. I feel like I have to prove myself immediately. I feel like one wrong answer and I am rejected. I feel like dating has become a marketplace. I feel like nobody wants to discover someone slowly." This is the emotional atmosphere of modern dating. Too much evaluation, too little curiosity, too much screening, too little connection, too much strategy, too little presence. Now, let us be fair. Some screening is necessary. Dating is not innocent fantasy. People have real lives, real responsibilities, real wounds, real goals, real timelines. If someone wants marriage, children, stability, or emotional maturity, it makes sense to ask important questions. If someone has been hurt before, it makes sense to be careful. If someone is dating after divorce, betrayal, or heartbreak, it makes sense to avoid repeating old patterns. So the problem is not that people ask questions. The problem is when the date becomes only questions. The problem is when curiosity becomes interrogation. The problem is when discernment becomes suspicion. The problem is when we stop meeting a person and start checking a profile against a mental job description. That is when dating becomes exhausting. Now, why has this happened? The first reason is dating apps. Dating apps change the architecture of romance. Before, people often met through family, friends, college, work, community, neighborhood, or shared social circles. You saw someone over time. You noticed how they spoke to others. You saw their humor. You saw their habits. You saw how they behaved when they were not trying to impress you. Attraction often grew through repeated exposure. But on dating apps, people appear as profiles.
A few photos, a short bio, a job title, height, location, age, interests, preferences, a few prompts, a few filtered images, and from this small amount of information,
People make fast decisions. Swipe left, swipe right, accept, reject, maybe, not enough, too short, too serious, too casual, too intense, too boring, too polished, too many selfies, bad grammar, wrong, shoes, wrong job, wrong vibe. In this environment, people become options. And when people become options, the heart becomes defensive. It says, "Do not waste time. Choose efficiently. Filter quickly. Protect yourself. Keep moving." This is not romance. This is optimization. The second reason is choice overload. When we have too few options, we may feel trapped. But when we have too many options, we may become restless. We compare. We delay. We wonder if someone better is one swipe away. We stop investing deeply because the possibility of replacement is always visible. A small imperfection becomes a reason to move on. A slightly awkward message becomes a sign of incompatibility. A quiet first date becomes no spark. A normal human flaw becomes a red flag. In a world of endless options, ordinary people begin to look insufficient. This is one of the tragedies of modern dating. The more options we see, the less patient we become with real people. The third reason is fear of wasting time. Many people are dating with pressure. Pressure from age, pressure from family, pressure from fertility timelines, pressure from career goals, pressure from past heartbreak, pressure from loneliness, pressure from seeing friends get married, pressure from social media, pressure from the feeling that life is moving fast. So they enter the date thinking, I need to know quickly. Is this going anywhere? Is this person serious? Can I build a future here? Again, these are valid questions, but when the future enters the first conversation too aggressively, the present disappears, and love needs presence. A person cannot feel your warmth if they feel they are being assessed for long-term suitability in the first hour. The fourth reason is therapy language. This is a new phenomenon. People now talk about dating with words like attachment style, trauma, narcissist, gaslighting, emotional availability, avoidant, anxious, toxic, boundaries, healing, red flags, love bombing. These words can be useful. They can help people name harmful patterns. They can protect people from repeating painful relationships. But they can also become weapons. They can make people overdiagnose each other. Someone replies late, and suddenly they are avoidant. Someone is enthusiastic, and suddenly it is love bombing. Someone disagrees, and suddenly it is gaslighting. Someone has a bad day, and suddenly they are emotionally unavailable. Someone is cautious, and suddenly they have commitment issues. Naming can create clarity, but overnaming can kill curiosity. Instead of asking, what happened? We say, I know what you are. That closes the door. The fifth reason is fear of rejection. Modern dating is full of micro-rejections. No reply, slow reply, ghosting, unmatched, seen but ignored, canceled plans, vague messages. Someone says they had a great time, then disappears. Someone texts daily, then becomes cold. Someone seems interested, then says they are not ready. These experiences train people to protect themselves. So, on the next date, they come guarded. They ask more questions. They reveal less. They evaluate faster. They try not to care too soon. They try to stay in control. This is understandable, but when two guarded people meet, romance struggles to breathe. Both are protecting themselves from rejection. Both are waiting for proof. Both are trying to avoid being foolish. But connection requires a little foolishness. Not recklessness, but openness. A willingness to not know. A willingness to be surprised. A willingness to meet someone without immediately deciding what category they belong to. Now let us talk about resume dating. Resume dating means evaluating someone mainly by external markers. Career, income, education, looks, height, family background, lifestyle, fitness, social status, travel history, ambition, communication, style, religion, caste, community, location, future plans. All of these may matter, but they are not the full person. A resume tells you what someone has achieved. It does not tell you how they love. A profile tells you what someone presents. It does not tell you how they repair. A career tells you what someone does. It does not tell you how they listen. A photo tells you how someone looks. It does not tell you how safe they make you feel. A checklist can help you avoid chaos, but it cannot create chemistry. This is why someone can be perfect on paper and emotionally flat in person. They meet every criterion: good job, good family, good values, good manners, good appearance, good education, and yet something feels missing. Why? Because attraction is not only a checklist. Connection is interactional. It happens in tone, timing, warmth, eye contact, humor, ease, curiosity, shared rhythm, emotional safety, the feeling that you can breathe around someone, the feeling that you are not performing, the feeling that something human is happening between you. That cannot be fully predicted from a profile. Now, let us speak to singles who feel exhausted. If dating feels like a job interview, ask yourself, am I trying to avoid uncertainty completely? Am I looking for a partner? Or am I hiring a role? Am I asking questions to know this person? Or to eliminate them? Am I curious? Or am I afraid? Am I present? Or am I scanning for red flags? Am I protecting myself wisely? Or am I closing myself too quickly? These questions are not meant to blame you. They are meant to bring you back to aliveness. Because dating should include discernment, but it should also include discovery. A date should not feel like a courtroom. It should feel like a conversation. Not because you ignore serious issues, but because you allow the person to appear before you decide who they are. Now, how do we make dating feel human again? First, change the purpose of the first date. The first date is not to decide if this person is your future spouse. That is too much pressure. The first date is to ask, do I want one more conversation with this person? That is all. Not, can I marry them? Not, are they perfect? Not, do they meet every requirement? Just, is there enough interest, safety, and curiosity for one more conversation? This lowers the pressure. It brings dating back to human scale. Second, ask better questions. Instead of only asking, what do you do? Ask, what part of your life feels most alive right now? Instead of, what are your long-term goals? Ask, what kind of life are you trying to build? Instead of, what are your red flags? Ask, what have you learned about yourself from past relationships? Instead of, what are you looking for? Ask, what does a healthy relationship feel like to you? Instead of, what is your attachment style? Ask, when you feel close to someone, what helps you feel safe? These questions are still meaningful, but they are less mechanical. They invite reflection, not performance. Third, balance depth with lightness. Modern dating often becomes either too shallow or too intense. Too shallow, what do you do? Where do you live? What do you like? Too intense, what are your childhood wounds? Why did your last relationship fail? Are you emotionally healed? Where's this going? A good date has both. Some depth, some humor, some values, some playfulness, some real questions, some ordinary conversation. A date should not be therapy, and it should not be small talk only. It should be a living conversation. Fourth, watch how you feel in your body. Do you feel anxious because they are unsafe? Or anxious because dating itself makes you nervous? Do you feel bored because there is no connection? Or bored because they are stable and you are used to intensity? Do you feel calm because they are safe? Or calm because there is no attraction? Do you feel excited because there is chemistry? Or activated because they are inconsistent? The body gives information, but it needs interpretation. Not every spark is safety. Not every calm feeling is boredom. Not every awkward moment is incompatibility. Not every slow beginning is failure. Sometimes love begins quietly. Fifth, stop expecting instant chemistry to do all the work. Chemistry matters, but instant chemistry is not always wisdom. Sometimes instant chemistry is recognition of an old pattern. Sometimes it is novelty. Sometimes it is anxiety. Sometimes it is attraction. Sometimes it is danger dressed as excitement. Slow chemistry can also be real, the kind that grows when you feel respected, when laughter appears, when trust builds, when conversations deepen, when your body relaxes, when the person becomes more attractive because of how they make you feel. Do not dismiss slow warmth too quickly. Sixth, do not confuse standards with walls. Standards say, I know what is important to me. Walls say, no one gets close enough to surprise me. Standards protect your values. Walls protect your fear. Standards help you choose. Walls prevent you from being known. A mature dater has standards without becoming emotionally unavailable. They can say, I am looking for emotional maturity, but they do not expect perfection. They can say, I want consistency, but they do not punish every delay. They can say, I want honesty, but they do not interrogate every sentence. They can say, I want commitment, but they do not force the future into the first date. Seventh, create space for real-world discovery. If possible, do something that allows natural behavior. A walk, a coffee, a bookstore, a simple meal, a shared activity, a casual event. People reveal more when the situation is not too formal. Watch how they treat staff, how they handle delays, how they listen, how they speak about others, how they respond when something does not go their way, how they ask questions, how they manage silence, how they repair a small misunderstanding. These things tell you more than a polished answer. Eighth, be honest without oversharing too early. You do not need to perform perfection, but you also do not need to give your entire emotional history on date one. Healthy dating reveals gradually. Enough truth to be real. Enough pacing to be safe. You might say, I am dating intentionally, but I also prefer to get to know someone slowly. Or, I value emotional honesty, but I do not think everything has to be rushed. Or, I am looking for something meaningful, but I believe connection needs space to grow. This communicates maturity without pressure. Ninth, handle rejection with dignity.